All right, let's get it. This is the 49ers Report live here on Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you, no matter where you are or how you're tuned in. Thank you so much for making the 49ers Report a part of your day. Another loaded and jam-packed show on the docket for today's episode. We're going to talk 49ers training camp winners and losers, an updated list. We're also going to go through some things to watch for on Friday in that preseason opener against the Green Bay Packers. We'll be doing a mailbag, taking your questions, and then after our YouTube and Rumble show wraps up, yet another live podcast on Callin. We'll start the official show in about 10 minutes. Up until that point, it's all about you. And really, it's always about the faithful. So right now, want to give the faithful some shout-outs. Let me know who you got on Friday night. SF for the 49ers, GB for the Green Bay Packers. If you want to type FGB to go with the Niners, you can do that as well. It's been a little while since we've had a graphic like this. In fact, haven't had one since going back to the NFC Championship game. What does that mean? It means that game action is back for San Francisco. So SF for the Niners, GB for the Green Bay Packers. Who you got? Let me know. Get that comment section popping, and I'll be sure to give you shout-outs. Also, we're going to run it back like we did last week. Every $50 that we get in Super Chats, we're shotgunning a beer. Got two to my left here. If I have more than 2 beers, it means that it was a really good day. $50 in Super Chats, that means that we're doing some shotguns. Shout-outs to the homies. A lot of people tuned in so far. Mando, a Trey Lance fan, Jonathan Taylor, Dwayne Witherspoon, Anthony Molina, Jason Aggins, Adam Lopez, Jamie Bryant, Todd Lee, George NAJM1. Who else we got? Tristan McDaniel, David Nelson, Draco Pimpin is in the house, tuned in from Las Vegas. What's good, brother? Dwayne Witherspoon, SIC 12052, Jamie Bryant. Of course, everybody's going with the Niners to win this game on Friday. I do expect Trey Lance to play at least a couple of series. I do not expect Aaron Rodgers to play. So really, it's going to be the Trey Lance versus Jordan Love show, and I do expect Trey Area to come out on top and play a much better brand of football because he is the better quarterback prospect. Another reminder, going to be going live on Callin after the show wraps up. So make sure you download the app so that you can join the conversation and call into the show. You see it down below, chatsports.com/49ersCallin. If you haven't tuned in to any of our live podcasts, I suggest you do. It's like Twitter Spaces, but even better. You make a profile, you hop into the caller queue. It's like sports talk radio on steroids. It's like Twitter Spaces, but even better. Chatsports.com/49ersCallin. Download the app so that you can call into the show. We'll be recapping another day of 49ers training camp practice. Speaking of Trey Lance and these practices so far, he's been up and down. There's no question about that, but given what you've heard, what you've seen from Lance, do you think that he should play an entire quarter on Friday night? I'd love to see it. I think he gets a couple of series, and maybe in that third preseason game, he does get some extended action. But give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Once again, I'm going to give you some shout-outs here. Jeffrey Brown, yo. What up, Jeff? Larry Edwards, SF. We chop it up on Twitter all the time. Love your shows, man. Tristan, appreciate that, dude. Mando, I want Trey to play. I can't wait until Friday. Everybody is with you. Looking forward to the game. I'm still hyped about last year from Will Phase 1. Draco Pimpin saying yes. So too is Dwayne Witherspoon. Mando saying yes. Jonathan Taylor submitting a Y. Tristan McDaniel, he wants to see a lot of Trey Lance. Andrew Taylor typing a Y for yes. George is there. So is Sains, man. Everybody wants to see Trey, one of the biggest storylines in the NFL heading into the 2022 season. Are you a real one? What does a real one mean? It means that you're a real one, and you're a ride or die Niners fan, and you support everything that we do right here on the San Francisco 49ers Report, and also you carry yourself like you're just not a bullshitter. And you're not a fake phony. You're not a fraud. You're not a schmuck. You're not a stiff. All good words right there. If you're not any of those words and you are a real one, get yourself a Real One shirt. Available right now on sale, chatsports.com/real149. The Real One movement was so real under the Chat Sports umbrella, we decided to make it into some t-shirts. So get geared up prior to the season, chatsports.com/real149. Get hooked up with some swag today from Chat Sports. If you're excited for the show to start, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. There's a lot to talk about. Slice and dice and chop it up with the faithful training camp winners and losers. What to watch for on Friday night. I see that Jamie Bryant already getting those questions in. Chase, I don't think my super chat worked from Draco. It didn't, because up to this point, we have not gotten any super chats. But we'll remind the people once again, Coop. Let's remind the people once again, Coop. Every $50 that we get in Super Chats today, just like we did last week, we're shotgunning beers because every time we go live, it is in fact a party right here on the 49ers Report. So we get a compilation of Super Chats together, and they equal in total $50, then we're shotgunning beers. Last week, we actually got $100, so we did 2 shotguns. Can we overtake that number this week? Your donations allow us to give you this coverage, and we do greatly appreciate the support. Coming your way on the show, 90 people watching live, 24 likes. Smash that thumbs up icon. If you're ready for the show to start, we have a lot to get to. We're going to talk 49ers news and rumors. We're going to discuss an updated list of 49ers training camp winners and losers. One mailbag. Start getting your questions in by using the hashtag 49ers, better yet, Super Chat, and also what to watch for against the Green Bay Packers. And then we'll be doing another podcast live on call-in, going through some of the news, takeaways, nuggets, analysis from another practice. It was the Trey Lance revenge practice off day yesterday, but on Sunday, he did not perform well. Today had arguably his best practice up to this point. So we'll be going live on call-in to discuss that. That's what's coming up right now. Thanks all of you for tuning into the show. We're only getting started, so get locked and loaded with us, and let's begin the 49ers Report live here on Chat Sports. Get those Super Chats in. Welcome in. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Senior. No matter where you are or how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making the 49ers Report a part of your day. On the docket for today's show, an updated list of 49ers training camp winners and losers, and we're going to go about this show a little bit different than what we've done in the past. We'll get to that list on who's been shining and the duds so far from Santa Clara, but first, today's show, presented by Aura. You know how Trent Williams protects any quarterback that is on this 49ers roster as the best left tackle in the National Football League? Well, Aura also provides you protection as a digital online leader in digital online safety tools. You head to aura.com/chatsports, and nowadays with everything living online, these hackers are able to steal your information, hack your bank accounts, but with Aura, you don't have to worry about that. Start your free 14-day trial by plugging in that link at the bottom of your screen. I'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video. So we begin with some 49ers winners, and we'll pivot back and forth with some losers as well. The clear winner up to this point from 49ers training camp, by far and away, has been Brandon Aiyuk. Going into a critical year 3, the production has certainly been there in his rookie year and his sophomore campaign. He's just been a little bit inconsistent, but those inconsistencies, not an issue at all from Santa Clara. He's been unstoppable in one-on-ones, going up against the likes of Emmanuel Mosley, Jimmy Ward, Charvarius Ward, and oftentimes it's been Brandon Aiyuk winning those matchups. He's provided this offense with something that we haven't seen the last couple of years. It is that deep threat, but also he's been really good in the red zone, scoring some tutties. Great continuity is what he's been able to build with Trey Lance. And with Deebo Samuel not practicing for a little while because of that contract situation and because he's playing catch-up right now, Brandon Aiyuk has been able to take advantage of Deebo being away, and now Deebo catching up, and Aiyuk has been the number 1 wide receiver from training camp up to this point. So I want to put you to the test in the comment section right now. And the thought of this question might sound crazy. Who has more receiving yards in 2022, Brandon Aiyuk or Deebo Samuel? I don't think it's that crazy of an argument, though. Let me know what you think and predict it for me. BA for Aiyuk, DS for Deebo. Let me know right now in the comment section. Now we start off and begin and continue this show with some losers as we continue to go back and forth. I'm keeping you on your toes a little bit. Jake Brendel's been on his heels a lot throughout training camp because he's gotten pushed back by fellow defensive linemen. And he's a loser in training camp. So too is Daniel Brunskill, because neither of them have been able to separate themselves and lock down that number one starting center role. Now, the 49ers did release their first official depth chart of the preseason, with preseason football getting underway from Santa Clara on Friday against the Green Bay Packers. Type FGB if you're a real one. And Jake Brendel, as of now, is the first string center. But Kyle Shanahan was asked about that on Tuesday and said, Jake Brendel is the starting center because I had to list a starting center. So he is the guy who's snapping the ball to Trey Lance, but him and Daniel Brunskill have been sharing those duties. Elsewhere along the trenches, Trent Williams, best left tackle in the game, holding it down on that left side. Aaron Banks at left guard. Spencer Burford, who continues to shine as a rookie. We'll get to him in a little while, starting at right guard, and Mike McGlinchey at right tackle. There's no question that this Niners offensive line, a little bit of a question mark going into 2022, especially on top of the fact that Trey Lance is inexperienced and you need to provide him with protection up front. So where are you at with this offensive line? C for concerned and W for not worried. We go back to another winner, Charvarius Ward. And really, it's been Aiyuk and Ward who have been the two consistent winners so far in Niners training camp. And that's a really good thing for San Francisco because Aiyuk needs to emerge as one of this team's top playmaking options offensively, and he's going into a big year 3 as I talked about. And then for Charvarius Ward, the biggest splash in free agency for San Francisco as they gave him that contract worth about $14 million per year. And Charvarius Ward is a player who was slept on to start his career in the National Football League, but over time, and with each year, he's gotten better and better and better. He's a little bit of an analytical darling as well. And last year, he kind of broke out, especially on the back half of the year. He was targeted 72 times a year ago, only gave up 36 receptions, completion percentage good for 50%, which is pretty solid in today's pass-happy NFL. 8 pass breakups and 2 interceptions. And then when you look at some of the coverage splits from Pro Football Focus and other analytical hubs, Charvarius Ward grades out very well. Another winner on the opposite field of Charvarius Ward is Emmanuel Moseley. Moseley and Ward figure to be one of the top cornerback duos that this franchise has seen, in recent memory. And oftentimes here on the channel, we've talked about Moseley continuing to play really, really good football. You can make the argument that in practices so far, he's actually been the number one cornerback by a slight margin over Charvarius Ward. But that's really great news for San Francisco and D'Amico Ryans. You have 2 really good corners on the outside. Right now, it looks like Darqueze Dennard is going to be the starting nickel, but Samuel Womack is right on his heels. But if you get good secondary play, on top of this 49ers defensive line being one of the best, most talented, and deepest in the National Football League, they're going to get after opposing quarterbacks, allowing Ward and Moseley to eat up as those outside corners on the outside. As I mentioned off the top of the show, we are presented by Aura. We do more online than ever, and Aura does everything and more to keep you safe. Just like Trent Williams holding it down from that left tackle spot last year, protecting Jimmy Garoppolo, and this year and moving forward, protecting Trey Lance. If you want online protection like Trent Williams provides this 49ers roster, get signed up today. And also, in doing so, near real-time alerts on suspicious credit inquiries and online suspicious activity. All you got to do, aura.com/chatsports, and you can save that money and get that free 14-day trial today. Another training camp loser, Jauan Jennings. So we've looked at the offensive line here for the losers aspect of the show. Now we go out to the wide receiver position. And Jennings has had a slow start to training camp. Now he is kind of a player who plays better in game action than he does in practices because he's not going to wow you athletically by any means. But Jennings entered camp with a really good opportunity on his plate as the clear wide receiver number 3. hasn't done really much to lock down that spot. He's dropped some passes. He's been inconsistent, hasn't been targeted often because he frankly hasn't gotten open often throughout camp. And Ray McLeod, another one of those sneaky good free agent acquisitions, has really made a big play every single day. So is he going to be wide receiver 3? Is it going to be Juwan Jennings? I like JJ. He gives you that good size coming out of the slot at 6'3", and last year really emerged as a go-to playmaker, but it is a great competition so far in training camp, and preseason will go a long way in determining who will be wide receiver number 3. According to that depth chart that I referenced earlier, Juwan Jennings still in a good spot. But who do you think will be wide receiver 3? JJ for Juwan Jennings, RM for Ray, DG for the Rook, Danny Gray. Last training camp winner here, Spencer Burford, the 4th-round pick out of UTSA. And basically, all throughout camp, he has been getting every single rep at right guard. And when the depth chart was released, guess who was starting at right guard next to Mike McGlinchey and next to Jake Brendel? It is Spencer Burford, who is really athletic out in space, has really good feet. There weren't many questions about him coming out of college other than the fact that he needed to refine his skills a little bit, needed to get a little bit stronger, and the level of competition a little bit of a concern when you go to UTSA. But he's proved all of his detractors and all of his doubters wrong up to this point, locking down that right guard spot, and barring any injury, I think that Burford's going to be the guy on opening day. Last loser now, it's Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, I'm not ripping Jimmy G. I respect what he's been able to bring this organization, winning 71% of his starts over the last several years, 2 NFC title games over 3 years, that Super Bowl appearance, but he's a loser, not because of his action, just because of things that he can't necessarily control, and he's losing out on maybe becoming a starting quarterback in time for the regular season by not getting dealt. Continues to rehab, the trade market is dry so far, and the Niners listed him as the 4th quarterback on this depth chart. Kyle Shanahan was asked about that, of course, because it's like, oh, Jimmy G, 4th-string quarterback behind Trey Lance, behind Nate Sudfeld, Brock Purdy as well. But Kyle Shanahan said, I put him 4th because I basically had to put him 4th. But Garoppolo is a starting caliber quarterback in this league, and he's won a lot of games. No, he's not going to dice you up, and he's not going to chuck it all over the yard 40 to 50 times per game, right? But he is capable of leading a team to a deep playoff run. He's led a team to a Super Bowl, and he's a quality starting quarterback. So for him to not get that opportunity, he himself would probably say, yeah, I'm a loser when it comes down to training camp winners and losers because I'm not sniffing the field as of right now. Want to hear from you, Faithful, once more in the comment section before we round out this segment. Who is your biggest winner and your biggest loser up to this point in training camp? Let me know in the comment section. Make sure you subscribe. We'll be doing a watch party on Friday night. Cannot wait for it, and appreciate all of you for rocking and rolling with us here on the Niners Report. Okay, good stuff so far. We're only getting started. Looking into the comment section, Mando, David Sims, Todd Lee, Golden Dragon number 5, Ellis 10, all in the chat right now. You love to see it. Did get a super chat from the boy, Draco. He's been tuning in every single week on YouTube as well as calling, and now he's sending in a super chat. $5 from Draco. Appreciate your donation, my guy. Trey is him. Say it like that, Chase. Trey is him. You already know. Let him play the first half, get his feet wet again, then put Brock Purdy in. And Nate Sudfeld is going to get some action as well. Nate Sudfeld is probably going to get maybe a couple of quarters, and then Brock Purdy, maybe that 4th quarter with all of the back-end roster types. But I agree, Draco. Me and you are in alignment. Me and you are in agreement that Trey Lance can be a really good player, and I think that over time he is going to be him, and he's going to be the guy for San Francisco. By the way, a lot of you tuning in now for the first time, $50 in total in Super Chats were shotgunning beers, and up to this point, these beers have not been opened. Draco with the $5 super chat to start us off. That means that we have $5 in the canister. So every $50 that we get, We're taking shotguns here on the channel. It can be combined. Doesn't have to be one super chat. Everybody can do it together as a team. Going to be going live on Callin after our YouTube and Rumble show wraps up. I hope you join us. We're going to be recapping Niners practice from today. Download the app so that you can join the conversation, call into the show, and interact with me as well as a lot of other people among this fan base. Chatsports.com/49erscallin. Do appreciate all of you for supporting everything that we do on all of our platforms, YouTube, Rumble, as well as Callin. And with the preseason, regular season right around the corner, my goodness, it is about to get real right here on the 49ers Report. Coming up next on the show, we're going to talk about some things to watch out for against the Green Bay Packers in this preseason debut on Friday. Can we get any more super chats, though, before we get to that segment? I'm waiting for all of you. In the meantime, shout out to people who are tuning in. What'd you say, Coop? Yeah, where's Shayla Venata? They were sending in 100 pieces last year. Uncle Wayne, Golden Dragon number 5. Because Draco sent in that 5-piece, cheers to Draco and cheers to the faithful. Mailbag coming up after this next segment, by the way. So you can start getting your questions in. Hashtag 49ers Super Chat. All right. Next up, going to talk about this preseason opener on Friday night and what to watch for. So without further ado, let's get it. San Francisco. This is the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Sr. Hope all of you are having a fantastic day. Preseason football about to get underway from Levi Stadium in Santa Clara as we can finally talk some Niners game action. And that's really the point of today's show, what to watch out for in the 49ers preseason opener against the Green Bay Packers. Kyle Shanahan talking this week about whether or not these starters are going to play. I imagine that players like Trent Williams, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel not going to partake in this game against Green Bay. And the same can be said for the Green Bay Packers. Do not expect Aaron Rodgers to play either. But Shanahan's plan, he expects Trey Lance and some of these starters to play a lot or at least a little in the first preseason game against Green Bay and then again in the third preseason game against the Houston Texans, a game against the Minnesota Vikings as part of their joint practice week sandwiched in between as part of this Niners preseason schedule. So it all goes down on Friday night. Of course, we'll be doing a watch party right here on the 49ers Report. That's why you subscribe, turn on your notifications so that you can join us. It's going to be a party all throughout Friday, taking your super chats, live play-by-play. If you tuned into our watch parties last year, they were absolutely epic. Game gets underway 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be going live about 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes before the game action gets started. And because San Francisco owns Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, and San Francisco has had Green Bay's number for quite a while, get into the comment section right now and join the movement. Type FGB right now down below. Obviously, the biggest storyline going into this preseason opener, it all revolves around Trey Lance, and all eyes will be on him to see how much he plays, how will he play, and he's going to be relieved to finally not face the 49ers defense, which in training camp has had his number on some days, and then Trey Lance has been able to burn this defense as well. But the rigors of going up against this Niners defense every single day in practice is no doubt going to make Trey Lance a better player because iron sharpens iron. But for him to get a different look is beneficial for him. It's beneficial for this coaching staff to get a proper evaluation on Lance. And I just want to see how he performs knowing that he is the starting quarterback of this football team and doesn't have to worry about backing up Jimmy Garoppolo or practicing and competing against Garoppolo. It is your team, Trey, and now it's time for you to prove and show others why the Niners moved up to number 3 in the 2021 NFL Draft to select you. I do have a prediction for Lance's performance. I expect the Niners to go to that ground game a couple of times early, and maybe Lance gets a couple of series. As they get that ground game established, I expect Kyle Shanahan to call a shot play downfield. And I'm thinking that Lance on a play-action boot, after the Niners get that ground game humming, for Lance to take a shot downfield, I hope he completes it because it'll be Team Liddy from Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. What to watch for number 2. How is the offensive line going to perform? Going into this year, we talked about it all offseason. The Niners' offensive line was the biggest question mark among all position groups on this roster, and they've struggled in camp up to this point. Now, they are going up against one of the deepest, most talented, most elite defensive lines in the NFL, and the iron sharpens iron thing, hopefully it helps out and benefits this Niners offensive line. But there are questions all across the board because of the lack of experience in the trenches here up front. Aaron Banks, he played one game last year. Jake Brendel has never been a consistent starting center, nor has Daniel Brunskill. It's a big reason why he's been struggling to snap the football because last year he played right guard. Spencer Burford has been wowing this coaching staff, but he's also a rookie and doesn't know what it's like to be in the heat of NFL game action. And Mike McGlinchey is coming off that torn quad from a year ago. And then the backups, Colton McKivitz, Jason Poe, Daniel Brunskill, Sutherland, Jalen Moore. There are a lot of question marks along this offensive line, and the main priority for San Francisco this year, keep Trey Lance on his feet, keep him healthy, keep that confidence up. Now, what are you most excited about against the Green Bay Packers? I want to hear from you in the comment section right now because there's a lot to look forward to in anticipation for Friday night's game. Let me know right now in the comment section. Next up, big question I have, what is the running back rotation going to be? Niners have multiple options in the backfield, from some veterans like Jeff Wilson and JaMycal Hasty to some young players and some rookies in this backfield as well. So I'm curious to see what the running back rotation is going to be. Is Elijah Mitchell even going to play? Right now, on the Niners' first depth chart, he is RB1. Surprisingly, Jeff Wilson is RB2. I think that's because of the experience, and he might be the best pass-catching back on this roster. Producer Coop likes that because he went to UNT, North Texas, shout out, just like Jeff Wilson did. And then outside of those top two, it's Trey Sermon, Ty Davis-Price, JaMycal Hasty, and Jordan Mason rounding out this running back depth chart. And I expect a lot of these guys to play, and I want to see who gets in first and how that running back rotation certainly works out, because San Francisco and Kyle Shanahan, the bread and butter for this offense, of course, running the football. Now, we do have deals all the time right here on the 49ers Report. How about this one right here? Season coming up right around the corner. Get swagged up and get geared up with this awesome deal thanks to today's presenting sponsor, Fanatics. This t-shirt combo, meaning you get both of them, was $50. It's now on sale prior to the season for just $30. Really good material, and you get to rock some Niners colors, red and gold till we're dead and cold. Chatsports.com/combo49. I'm putting that link in the comment section and the description of this video so that you can look fresh for the Niners 2022 season. Now we pivot to Javon Kinlaw on the defensive side of the ball. Big year for him going into year 3. Former first-round pick who up to this point has been a bust. He's barely played in his rookie and sophomore campaigns. He's looked strong in camp. He's looked really good. He's dominated Aaron Banks on a couple of occasions. And the big question for Javon Kinlaw is not the ability. Can he stay consistently on the field? And can he stay healthy? And can that dominance, or at least the physical dominance, translate? If you look at Javon Kinlaw, among all players along the defensive line outside of Nick Bosa, you're like, yo, how is this guy not wreaking havoc? Snap in and snap out. Big reason for that, hasn't been able to stay on the football field. I hope Javon Kinlaw can stay healthy because he can certainly be a disruptor along this 49ers defensive line. I'm also excited to see these rookies on Friday night. The rookies should get extended game action in this preseason opener. From Spencer Burford to Drake Jackson, who's on the second team edge as a defensive lineman. I want to see what Samuel Womack is going to be able to do. But let's focus in on some of these rookies in particular. For Drake Jackson on that depth chart, he is on the second string as the edge rusher, and he started camp on the third string. So now he's elevated already. He's certainly shown some moments of living up to those expectations of being the Niners' first pick this year in the second round of the draft. And as far as Samuel Womack goes, right now it's Darqueze Dennard as the starting nickel on this team, a guy who was once a highly touted player, got off to a rocky start for his NFL career. He credited San Francisco last year with bringing back his love for football, and right now he has the inside track at that starting slot corner role. But Samuel Womack is certainly gaining some traction. And At Toledo, he was masterful at breaking up passes, and that's what he's been doing so far in camp. Backup nickel corner. I expect him to fulfill that role on Friday, but also play a little bit on the outside as well. Now, we're talking about this Niners preseason opener against Green Bay. How about the regular season opener against the Chicago Bears? It's going to be here before we know it on September 11th, and we want to do a competition in anticipation for that game. How about Rumble followers? Chicago Bears now 804. 49ers report closing in on 500. Subscribe, follow us today on Rumble. Let's overtake Chicago Bears now on the football field at Soldier in the Windy City. Also with Rumble followers, rumble.com/49ers TV. When you plug in that link, just hit that green follow button, same color as that graphic below me. Also, true sign of depth is something else to keep an eye out for and an eye peeled for against the Packers. We'll get to see truly how deep this 49ers defensive line is. And Jordan Love, I think, is going to get extended playing time for the Packers because I don't expect Aaron Rodgers to play. And this Niners defensive line, we continue to say it, they're deep, they're talented, they can rotate guys, both from edge to defensive tackle and vice versa. I love the versatility for Chris Kosarek's unit, but we're going to see just how deep this Niners defensive line is. In the fourth quarter, if they're continuing to generate a pass rush, that's a great sign, and I do expect once it comes to roster cutdown day, when the Niners have to trim that roster to 53 players on August 30th, some good defensive linemen could be let go because they're going to have to make some tough decisions because they have so many quality defensive linemen on this team. Danny Gray, are you excited for the rookie third-round pick? I am, out of SMU. A little bit inconsistent so far in training camp. Has certainly had some big moments. He's had some down moments. But can he capitalize against some backups? He should be able to. He's going to be facing guys on the outside or in the slot who are not going to make the 53-man roster for Green Bay. He should be able to cover them up. He should be able to pick up big chunks of yardage and show why the Niners believed in him to take him in the third round of the NFL draft. Great yards after the catch ability. Has to be more consistent with catching the football. Drops have been a little bit of an issue. I also want to see how he fares against press coverage because that's also been an area in which he's kind of struggled in so far in camp. And then lastly, special teams improvement with the Niners coverage units as well as their kick and punt return units. In both areas last year, one of the worst overall special teams units in the National Football League. And preseason football is telling for how special teams units can perform. New special teams coordinator in Santa Clara this year. It's Brian Schneider. And word is he's had this special teams unit buttoned up. Is that going to translate to the game field? It can cost you games. It can win you games. A big area in which the Niners have to get better this upcoming season. So that's what I'm looking out for against the Packers. Friday night preseason opener. Who you got? SF for San Francisco, GB for the Green Bay Packers. Can the Niners beat the Packers yet again? I think so. Let me know. Get those predictions in right now. All right, get those predictions in. We'll give you some shout-outs, and we'll get to our mailbag. If we get the $50, it's going to take some big ones. We're going to shotgun a beer. Get those super chats in right now so that we can get the party going on a Tuesday. Coming up next on the show, a mailbag. If you have any questions, we have the answers. Hashtag 49ers super chat. Get those questions in. Can't wait to chop it up with the faithful. Looking at the comment section right now, Ellis10, Adrian Avila, D. Estrada, Brutal, 12 Tribes. We did get another super chat in, by the way. We'll get that up on the screen here momentarily. Henry Como. Everyone will be watching that offensive line too. There's no question, Henry. Biggest question mark on this team, and it's an area in which if San Francisco is bad this upcoming year, it could really derail their season, a season in which San Francisco does have some Super Bowl aspirations. Another reminder, going live on Call-In after the show. Download the app so that you can call into the show and join the conversation if you're not familiar with Call-In. It's like Twitter Spaces, but even better. Chatsports.com/49ers Call-In. The download links for your iPhone and Android device, it is available right now in the description of this video. I want to hear from all of you. We're going to recap practice from today. Also, if you're a real one, you can get some Real One merch if you're a big supporter of the Niners Report, but also big supporter of this football team. And if you just carry yourself like you're a real one, back it up with some gear. Chatsports.com/real149. Shirts available in red and black. The Real One movement has been so real up to this point that I got in touch with the bosses and I said, look, there are so many people commenting real ones in our videos. We have to make them into some shirts to make it a movement. So you can get those today. Chatsports.com/real149. We're always pumping out the merch. D. Estrada, Cedric Purnell, Manuel, Raphael, Mayday. You guys are the best for tuning into the show. Let's pop up that Super Chat reminder once more, Coop, if we can, before we get to that sack. $50 in total. Shotgun and some beers. Right now, we're $43 away. Can somebody come in with the hammer? I know there are some real ones out there who always support us. And you support us, even if you're just watching the show, with donations. All of you who are here, you're all the best. And we do appreciate the support. Henry Como is a real one. Cedric Purnell, also a real one. Get some real one tees. If you do get a real one shirt, tweet it at me, at Chase_senior, and we'll get you featured on the show. $50 in supers. We're shotgunning beers because we're always down to party. Nick Craig with another super. We will feature that on our mailbag as well as all those supers, Coop. So anybody who sends in a super chat, you will be featured not only live on the show, but also on our mailbag, which will get published later this week. So you send in a super, you get featured in a couple of different areas. Mando, also a real one. Bang Bang Niner Gang from AJ Stevenson. Manuel, Trey is unproven. I don't see how Trey is better. He's just more talented than Jimmy Garoppolo. It's like that ceiling and floor conversation. His ceiling is really, really high, but maybe Jimmy Garoppolo has a higher floor. Braden, I'm the realist. I love it. Cedric, I expect Trey Lance to get us to the playoffs. So do I. Trey is the most unproven first-round quarterback that I've ever witnessed from D. Estrada. My goodness. Mitchell Trubisky maybe a little bit more unproven, but both of them one full season of starting at the college ranks. So I hear you. I definitely hear you. Ellis 10, also a $2 super chat. We'll get all those super chats featured on the show. $40 away from Shotgun and Beers. Is there going to be one person who gets us over the top? Niners country. Let's ride. Okay, get those questions in. Hashtag 49ers. Better yet, super chat. If you super chat, you skip the line. We'll answer your questions before anybody else's. Let's start answering your questions right now as part of today's mailbag. Coming your way on the 49ers Report, a news and rumors mailbag where I take questions from all of our loyal subscribers. If you haven't subscribed to the 49ers Report on YouTube, do so right now. But also a reminder, after every single one of our live shows, we go live on Callin. It's a live interactive podcasting app that's very much like Twitter Spaces, but even better, where you can call into the show. We want as many subscribers as possible because we'll be going live after the preseason game on Friday, as well as after every single game throughout the regular season. And I want to see those rooms popping off. Chatsports.com/49ers call in. Download the app on your iPhone and your Android devices today and make sure you make a profile. We begin this mailbag with this $5 super chat coming in from Draco. Trey is heme. Say it like that, Chase. Trey is heme. Let him play in the first half, get his feet wet again, then put Brock Purdy in. I agree that Trey Lance should get extended action in the preseason opener against Green Bay. I don't know if he's going to play the entire first half. I think that's a little bit too much. Now, in the third preseason game, because there are 17 days of rest between that final preseason game and the season opener, maybe you play Trey Lance an entire quarter, maybe a quarter and a half, but you want to try to avoid injury at all costs. For this preseason game on Friday, though, I want to see Trey Lance get at least 3 series. I think that allows him, like you said, to get his feet wet. Then after that, you can play Nate Sudfeld, you can play Brock Purdy. Trey needs that experience. Next up, it's Nick Craig with the $2 super chat. What is your expectation for Trey Lance this season? I think he's in a really good position because I don't think there's a ton of pressure on him to carry the load offensively like some other rookie quarterbacks have had to do in years previous, because this roster is built to compete for a Super Bowl, and this roster is loaded from the defensive side of the football to the offensive side of the football. There are so many premier players on this roster, and they love to run the football too. So all of that takes pressure off of Trey Lance. No, I do have lofty expectations for him in his first full season as a starter. If he goes out and throws 25 to 30 touchdowns and he runs for 400, 500 yards and another 8 touchdowns, that's a pretty good year for Trey Lance. And I don't expect him to have that MVP caliber season that Patrick Mahomes had back in 2018 in his first full season as a starter, or play like Joe Burrow did in his second year. But I do expect Trey to impress a lot of people. There are going to be mistakes, but he has the ability and the special ability to make up for those mistakes with some just stupid raw talent. Another donation coming in from Ellis10, Chase Sr. What's your win-loss prediction for 2022? I've said this for a long time. I'm going to continue to say it, and I don't really see it changing. I think the Niners are going to win 10 games. That's my prediction for this year. If they win more, that's great. I hope it doesn't come down to Week 18 like it did last year, do or die, when you're down 17-0 against the Los Angeles Rams and you're in a do or die situation in which you have to come back, climb yourself out of a hole, and cause all of us to have a near heart attack. But I do expect the Niners to be a little bit more consistent this year and not have to rebound from a 3-5 start. That's a big key also for the Niners this year. Get off to a better start so that you don't have to play catch-up with a young quarterback. So 10 wins, I'll cap it at 11, Ellis10. Appreciate that question, all of your support of the Niners Report over time. Just because the 49ers own the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers, as Rodgers over in the playoffs against the Niners, type FGB in the comment section right now. Another super chat rolling in from Adriana Saavedra. Hopefully I pronounced that right. It was just a super chat sticker. Massaging? No, we're not talking about Deshaun Watson. $5 super chat from Letterhead Movement. Did you miss me? I did, Letterhead. Letterhead is back. Where is IFR Dries for Denmark? I'm looking for you too. With the season coming up, I expect to hear from so many people. But Letterhead Movement with the 5 bones. Did you miss me? Yes, I did. Was down and out for a month. Are you okay, Letterhead? I hope you're all good. If you're talking down and out because of health issues, I hope you bounce back. If you're talking down and out as it's been the offseason, I unplugged, that's all good. Love to hear the Niner talk. Chase, you're an Iron Man. Can't wait for the season opener. I appreciate that. I'm not sure if I'm going to run an Ironman race to technically be classified as an Ironman, but I've been putting in that work. Near Ironman, running nearly 80 days straight up to this point, 100 push-ups a day, so I'm trying to live up to those lofty expectations from Letterhead Movement. Chua Lore is back with the new profile picture. What up, Chua? Should the Niners sign a backup for Trey Lance if Jimmy is gone by a trade? If Nate Sudfeld struggles, who should the Niners sign? It is slim pickings on the list of available quarterbacks. We're talking Cam Newton, we're talking Ryan Fitzpatrick, and maybe there will be a surprise release when rosters get cut down of another fringe type of quarterback. But really, if you don't have Trey Lance and if he gets injured, and you get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo, this team kind of screwed with Nate Sudfeld and Brock Purdy. I do believe that Kyle Shanahan is as good of a coach as anybody out there in terms of putting together a game plan for a quarterback to succeed. He did it with C.J. Beathard. He did it with Nick Mullins. The problem is, once defensive coordinators start to hone in on what some of those quarterbacks do well and what they do poorly, they adjust, and those backups are a backup for a reason. Jamie Bryant, do you think that Ross Dwelley makes the team? Samuel Womack also. Womack is the number 2 slot corner and nickel corner on this roster behind Darqueze Dennard. So I do expect Womack to make the roster. He was also a draft pick who did some really good things at Toledo. For Ross Dwelley, interesting stuff going on at the tight end spot. On the first depth chart that the Niners released, George Kittle, number 1 tight end, Tyler Kroft, number 2, Ross Dwelley, 3. You're like, okay, where's Charlie Warner? He's been rehabbing from a core muscle injury. So I'm not sure if he's going to open up the season on PUP. If that happens, Dwelley will make the team. So too will Tyler Kroft. But nice little competition going on in training camp between Dwelley and Tyler Kroft now that Jordan Matthews suffered that torn ACL. After every single one of our live shows, we go live on Callin. It's an interactive podcasting app where you have the chance to call into the show. It's like Sports Talk Radio and Twitter Spaces had a baby, and that's what Callin is. Download the app, join the conversation. You can download it on your iPhone and your Android device by heading to chatsports.com/49ers call in. Those download links available right now in the comment section and the description of this video. Next up, it's Krusty Niner. What are you looking forward to in the Niners preseason game? Looking forward to Trey Lance, looking forward to seeing what the running back rotation is going to be. I'm looking forward to Javon Kinlaw getting some game snaps, Drake Jackson coming off the edge. I want to see what Samuel Womack can bring to the table, as well as Tariq Castro-Fields and all of the other rookies. Most notably, though, it's Trey Lance. How much he plays and how he performs. That's the biggest storyline going into Friday night. Mando, he's been all over the comment section on our live show today. Should Brock Purdy be our quarterback 2 instead of Nate Sudfeld? No, Brock Purdy does not have a good arm. It's a little bit of a noodle arm. When he has to get those balls outside the hash to the perimeter, he really struggles, and that's where pick sixes come into play and can really flip games. If Brock Purdy is getting any significant snaps this year in 2022, it's a big problem for the Niners. Now, Nate Sudfeld, he's somewhat unproven as a starter too, but quarterback evaluators really like him, and he's had a solid camp, really up and down. He's a backup for a reason. There's no question about that, because he does lack consistency, but Brock Purdy should be quarterback 3. And I think once it comes to 53-man roster cutdown day, I envision the Niners keeping 2 quarterbacks on the roster, Trey Lance, Nate Sudfeld, and then Brock Purdy on the practice squad. What are you most excited about against the Green Bay Packers? Is it going to be Brock Purdy and the fact that he's going to be getting and seeing extended action? Let me know right now in the comment section. A lot to be excited about against Green Bay in this preseason opener. Julian Rost, certainly a real one. Chase, you demand. Thank you, bro. Who do you feel is going to be Trey's security blanket, as in a wide receiver? A couple of guys. Deebo Samuel can be the ultimate security blanket because he can catch the ball and he can run it. Brandon Aiyuk can be that deep threat to take the top off of the defense. George Kittle is kind of that prototypical security blanket as that tight end. Jawan Jennings is also that possession type of wide receiver. So all of them bring something different to the table. That's what I'm looking at. Henry Como, last question in this mailbag, $2 super chat. Everyone will be watching that offensive line too. Yeah, no doubt, Henry. That's a really good point. This offensive line, a little bit lackluster and a monster question mark. You look at the depth chart right now, it's Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, Spencer Burford, Mike McGlinchey as the first-team starters. And outside of Trent Williams, big question marks. McGlinchey coming off the injury, Burford the rookie, Jake Brendel has never been a long-term starting center, and Aaron Banks played 1 game last year. So there is certainly some questions for this offensive line, especially considering that Trey Lance needs the protection in front of him. Real one roll call. We're doing that before we hop on out of here for this mailbag. If you made it this far and you're subscribed to the channel, I want you to comment real one. And don't forget to get some real one shirts, which are available on the channel right now. Real ones. We appreciate you. Okay, before we do our live call-in show, we'll take any more super chats that we can get. We are $30 away from $50 in super chats, and once we get there, if we get there, I'm shotgunning this beer. If we don't get any more super chats, then we are going to pivot to our call-in show and recap another day in Niners land as practice concluded just a couple of hours ago, as Trey Lance redeemed himself from a rocky Sunday and was able to have a really good performance. True Allure is a real one. Henry Como is as well. Parrish Smith, Kramer, Fox, JM, Chew Allure type an FGB. Hi Tran, I think we should dominate and take first in our division. Rams might be without Matthew Stafford. That elbow thing is really weird for Stafford. It's tendonitis and a baseball injury, but those things can linger for a little while. And Sean McVay seems a little bit flummoxed about Matthew Stafford's elbow injury. It is a good word, isn't it? Yeah, flummoxed. They can't figure it out. Yeah, he was. Yeah, they seriously do. Moose Cal, FGB, JM, FGB, Mayday, FGB. All right, I'm going to put the shot clock to 2 minutes. If we don't get any super chats in 2 minutes, and we're going to start our call-in live podcast. Every $50 that we get, we shotgun some beers. So the 2-minute shot clock is on right now. And in the meantime, I'm just going to get set up for our podcast on call-in. So if you wanted to send in a super chat of any variety, your donations certainly greatly appreciated. But if we don't get any more super chats in the next 2 minutes, we will pivot to our live podcast on Call-In, recapping Niners practice. And I hope all of you join us. Sex bots are back. Type B to ban the sex bots. Type FGB. Block the bots. Let's see. We will hide the user on this channel. Love chat XYZ. Seems weird. People are getting smarter, those sex bots. I know. I don't know what they're doing. Adrian Avila, also a real one. Parrish Smith, BTB, block the bots. Moose Cal, FGB. 45 seconds left if we don't get any supers, and we'll start the call-in room, and then we'll wrap up on YouTube. I'm just getting the call-in set up here. Eddie Griss, we are not lactose intolerant. What are you talking about, lactose intolerant? Were we talking milk? Or is that for the sex bots? Might be the sex bots. Yeah. Okay. Getting set up on call-in. What'd you say?
I think he means lactose intolerant because of the cheese. Green Bay.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I was trying to search for what you were getting at there, but I see what you're doing. Let's go Niners from New Jersey, from Kane. Eddie Griss, getting real creative here. For all the super chats that came in, just a little beer chug for y'all. Any more super chats? Last call. Then we're starting this call-in room. Hope you join us, live podcast where you can call into the show. We'll be recapping Niners practice. I'll get my notes set up here with some of the best takes. All right, going to start the call-in room here. Okay, we are officially live on the Call-In app. Live on Call-In. The room has officially started. Did we get super chats that came in? 25 bones. That means that we're $7 from 50. $7 from 50. Is my audio going in and out? Staticky audio. Let's see here. Okay, for those of you listening on call-in, let me know how the audio is. We did a mic check a little bit earlier, and everything sounded good, and now getting some weird feedback. So let me know in the comment section here. $7 away, actually $6 away from $50 in super chats. This is some crazy audio on call-in right now. Bad connection. Sounds like the rain is on. It is raining in Dallas. It sounds staticky from Draco. Okay. Let's see here. Okay.
Hey, shout out Mayday for that soup.
Shout out Mayday for that soup, by the way. Mayday. Go back to Mayday. I want to read that one. Ray Day with a $5 super chat. I'll send us out with the bang. Real one, bang, bang, Niner gang. And then there was a $20 super chat that came in from Rick. Hey, Chase, still in New Zealand, hanging out until Friday, just in time for the Niners game. Let's go Niners. For those of you listening in on YouTube, is it still staticky? Let me know. Rick with the 5. Wait, we're $2 away. Yeah, we got it. Hey! Let's go. It's tripping from Draco. So this audio is tripping. Is Brett out there or no? I'll need my keys too, Marsh. We're trying to figure out the audio here for Colin. Here's Rick, $5. We're shotgunning a beer once again. Yeah, staticky. It's going in and out. Not sure what the deal is here. Trying to figure out what the call-in situation is. Appreciate those of you who are tuned in on call-in as we work through some of these technical difficulties. Parrish Smith over the top, Chase. Go, Chase, go. That's good stuff right there. Yeah, the audio is very staticky. For some reason, I can even hear it on my headset, too. 49ers Report live on call-in. Still going in and out? Yeah, it's I'm getting static feedback on my ear, or in my ear. I tried to replug and plug in again over here. Working through some of our technical difficulties, and then we'll get it on and popping. Still live here on YouTube as well as Rumble, and we're trying to get it going on call-in. Okay. Adrian Avila said a lot of popping noises. How about now? And if I increase my volume, it sounds a little bit better than it did. So let us know on call-in and YouTube how it sounds now. It's sounding better. Okay, you got it in the earpiece. I think we're good. JM said it sounds better. That's a good sign. Kamante said we still here. Niner life. Appreciate you. Manuel said chug bro. Adrian, I see you in the chat. Kamante said it's much better. That's great news. That's great news. Sounds better from Mando. Okay, so we got $50 in super chats, 56 to be exact, thanks to some big supers coming in at the last minute from Rick. Rick tuned in from New Zealand, almost in Down Under, right in that region, but that's what's so cool about the 49ers Report is that people are literally tuned in from all across the globe. So because we got past $50 in super chats, going to shotgun another beer here, because that was the deal I made with y'all at the start of the show. $50 in combined supers, we're going to shotgun a beer. And for those of you watching on YouTube, about to go live on call-in as well.
Chase, the record last week was 2.7.
2.7 was the record for the shotgun last week. I'm not sure if I can beat that record this week because this beer is extremely cold. But to Rick, everybody watching and listening, we appreciate you. We're shotgunning beers here on the Niners Report. So On the Crack Coop is going to time it. Three flat. Slower than last week, but still pretty good. Not bad. Not bad. Now I got beer on my shirt. Here's that. Okay. Nah, we should be all right. It's never ideal when you get the beer on the shirt. Might have to buy some time. Supposed to do a VOD cut. All right, I'm looking at the call-in room right now. A couple people already calling in into that caller queue. Draco, David, Drew, Edgar, Roger, Dwayne, Asaya. You want to join the caller queue, you can. I think Harry stayed live on YouTube, by the way, for his call-in segment. So we can actually do that, yeah. Marsh, why don't you hop on here? I'm just going to change shirts real quick. Going to bring on my boy Marshall Green. Going to change my shirt because this call-in is going to go onto YouTube, and I don't want to look like a scrub. So here's my boy. He's got the red on. Here we go.
Niner red on. Let's ride. Let's get some FGBs in the chat. I want to see everybody getting excited. Chase is changing his wardrobe for you all. That's how much he cares about you. But I knew it was Tuesday. I knew it was live day on the 49ers Report, and that's why I wore my red. I was going through my closet this morning, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to be helping with the Niners Report live. I am wearing my Niner red to work today. Chase, he wore his Niner gray. I wore my Niner red. I think that says a lot about everything going on. But let's get some FGBs in the chat, because I think something we can all agree on is Aaron Rodgers is a fraud. I don't care what type of psychedelic trips he goes on. He's a fraud, and we hate Green Bay as Niners fans. We own them no matter if we're in the Bay or the frozen tundra. The real ones and the faithful always show up. FGB in the chat. I'll give some shout outs. Brett Brooks, shout out to you, my guy. DHA Dukes, Mark. Rick says, what's the call-in number? It's actually not a number. We're going to put the link to that in the chat. Rick, we'll put that link to the call-in room in the chat. All you got to do is click on the link, and you can hop into the caller queue and ask Chase Sr. a question, and he's back wearing his Niners black.
We're back. Back in black. Back in black. It's like that ACD song. We're going to stay live on YouTube. So, no, stay live on both, and we'll continue to stay live on call-in. So here's the deal. In weeks previous, when we've gone live on call-in, we've shut off the YouTube stream. But we figured, okay, for those of you who actually want to call into the show, you got to download the call-in app anyway. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you can stay here. But if you actually want to call into the show, make sure you download the call-in app. Those links are available in the comment section and the description of this video. We'll also get those links into the chat as well so that you can download the app and call into the show. Right now, shout out to everybody who's listening. Join us on call-in. Draco is in the caller queue, David, Drew, as well as Richard. Going to answer all of your questions here in just a few moments. But in the meantime, we're going to recap what happened at Niners practice. We're going to do that. Then we're going to start taking some calls. For those of you watching on YouTube right now, download the call-in app so that you can join us on call-in. You too can call into the show. There are a couple of people who haven't made a profile, so that means that you're listening on maybe a tablet, on your phone, maybe your computer without making a profile. You make a profile, you can actually call into the show. So we're going to officially start our call-in show right now. As soon as I get the thumbs up from producer Coop, we'll be good rocking and rolling. From this point, we will be live for a half hour straight taking your calls on all things Niners. So let's get to it right now. Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. And we know that on Sunday in practice from Santa Clara during 49ers training camp, Trey Lance had struggled. But after an off day on Monday, he comes back on Tuesday and has his redemption and revenge practice. So we're here to talk about it on today's show. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube by hitting that red sub button down below. For those of you listening live on call-in, we appreciate you for supporting what we do. If you want to download the call-in app, you too can call into the show. It's like Twitter Spaces, but even better. You see the link down below. It's chatsports.com/49ers call-in. Before we get started with our news, notes, and analysis from 49ers practice today, if you're tuned in on YouTube and listening live on call-in, I want to hear from you in the comment section. Just type real one right now. So on Sunday, Trey Lance, 4 of 12, a lackluster practice for him, and he threw a bad interception to Fred Warner. And on Saturday, he also wasn't really that good. Threw a pick six to Jimmy Ward, but then came back and responded in a way in which great quarterbacks do. Led the team on a scoring drive in about a minute 15, minute 20, and completed a nice little touchdown pass to Ray McCloud, where he got out of the pocket, fired back across the field, and found Ray McCloud at the horn to give the Niners offense the win over the Niners defense. And that Niners defense, they are locked and loaded and one of the best units in the National Football League. The big question when it comes down to Trey Lance and how he performed over the weekend with that off day yesterday, how would he be able to bounce back? And he responded today in really impressive fashion. Very strong showing. It may have been his best practice so far of Niners training camp, which comes at a good time with the Niners taking on the Green Bay Packers on Friday night in their preseason opener. The numbers, a little bit mixed across the board depending on who you follow. Let's go with 14 of 19 for Lance. Breaking the defense down in the process with his arm as well as his legs, including a splash play in the first play of overall team drills, a 65-yard touchdown run in which Lance beat the defense around the edge. He was spring free because of a Deebo Samuel block downfield that helped pave the way for him to take it to the house. And also Trey Lance doing a couple of nice things with his arms as well, but showing that mobility and that dual threat for this Niners offense. He threw a red zone touchdown to Deebo Samuel. Most importantly today, though, from practice, no interceptions, scored 3 touchdowns in that 65-yard scamper was really, really impressive. And what's important for a quarterback on top of size, accuracy, arm strength, football IQ, and mental processing? All of those attributes are really important for a quarterback. What's also really important, though, for a QB? Mental makeup. And players said on Sunday, after that lackluster practice, we're not worried about Lance because he has that short mindset and that short memory. We expect him to rebound and recover very quickly, and Lance was able to do that today. What about Lance excites you the most? I'm putting you to the test in the comment section on Call-In as well as YouTube. What excites you the most about Trey Lance? Let me know right now and join the conversation in the comment section. Before we start taking your calls, as we have a couple of people in the caller queue on Call-In, do want to talk about Javon Kinlaw. He has been one of the winners so far during Niners training camp. We know the story about Javon Kinlaw. First-round pick out of South Carolina back a couple years ago. Year one in that COVID year, barely played as Brandon Aiyuk shined as a latter first-round pick. And then last year for Kinlaw, couldn't stay on the field once again. Going back to his days at South Carolina, he battled knee injury issues. That reared its ugly head in year one. It was also a problem in year two. So Kinlaw, in the middle of last year, had to get that ACL repaired on, and the recovery process has been lengthy, but he's on the field participating in practice, and in a lot of instances, he's been able to beat former second-round pick Aaron Banks in a lot of one-on-one drills, and Javon Kinlaw's looked really good in the process. And of course, there was that drama from this past offseason in which he hopped on the show with Grant Cohn. They went back and forth, and Kinlaw couldn't control his emotions. And let's be real, it was a bad look for him as well as the Niners organization that he couldn't control those emotions. But if he's able to harbor those emotions and then take it out on opposing offensive linemen all throughout the season and live up to those expectations of being that former first-round pick, then Kinlaw can get back on track and start being the player that the Niners had envisioned when they drafted him back in 2020. He has all the ability. He has the physical attributes. This guy has so much talent. He just needs to stay on the field. And if he's on the field, given the talent level on this Niners defensive line, this defensive line and this defense could legitimately be one of the best in the National Football League. And he could really change the complexion of the interior for that defensive front because he could be good against the run, he could be good against the pass, and when you look at Kinlaw, outside of Nick Bosa, among all defensive linemen on this Niners roster, you're like, man, this guy's a physical menace. This guy looks as though him and Nick Bosa were put together in a lab. Like, they are special athletes, and Kinlaw can be overpowering. Just needs to stay on the football field. But up to this point, he's talked about having this dog mentality. I want to see it translate to the football field, and in training camp up to this point, he has been very, very impressive. Now I want to start taking your calls here on Call-In, and this is why you download the Call-In app. Yes, I appreciate you for subscribing on YouTube, tuning in on YouTube, but on Call-In, we're going to be doing post-game shows, and we're going to be reacting to these games live. You have an opportunity to call into the show and be a part of the conversation like we're about to do right now. So I'm looking at the caller queue right now, see a couple of people who are on board. We're going to begin with our first caller being Draco. Make sure you unmute yourself. You're live on the 49ers Report. Can't wait to hear from all of our subscribers. Draco, make sure you unmute yourself so that you can join the show. I see you unmuted yourself. What do you got for me, my man?
I was going to say, you probably hear me on Apex right now.
You're good, bro. What's happening?
But I'm really waiting for the game because Trey turned up today. Like I knew, as expected. You know, they say he gets better and better, and that's what I'm gonna wait to see as he gets better and better. And yeah, this game it's gonna be a lot of fun. I know a lot of starters ain't gonna be in. I'm trying to see if Danny Gray and all them other boys gonna come out to show up and show out because they've been blaming it a lot on the defense, saying we got a number one defense. All right, let's see. You plan to get some square bob number two defense. Let's see what y'all talking about.
Yeah, I think Draco makes some really good points, and we're going to run through these calls a little bit quicker so that we can include you on our YouTube show. But Draco makes a good point about Trey Lance. There are going to be bumps in the road. there are going to be hurdles that he has to overcome. He is going to run into some problems and make some ill-advised mistakes. And there are going to be moments in which he makes dumbfounding decisions with the football. But you have to be patient with Trey Lance and keep in mind that he's an inexperienced quarterback, not just at the NFL level. Also going back to North Dakota State, where he played one game in 2020 because of that COVID-shortened year, and then one full season of FCS football, and then last year only made 2 starts. So far in training camp, it's been the perfect encapsulation of what I expected from Trey Lance. There were going to be ups. There were going to be wow plays and splash plays. There were also going to be some negative plays as well. You have to live with it, you have to expect it, and you have to accept it. Because at the end of the day, what does Lance also possess? He's 6'4", 225, has one of the strongest arms in the NFL. Ray McCloud said today that he reminds him a lot of Josh Allen, a player who Ray McCloud entered the league with. And you continue to see these things about Lance, of him having a great makeup, him responding to adversity. That's what the great quarterbacks do. And the fact that he can unleash the deep ball and add that element to the offense, but also today run for 65 yards. You know who was never doing that? Jimmy Garoppolo. So that's the level of ability that Trey Lance brings to the table. And as far as Danny Gray goes, he has to show that he can be worthy of that 3rd round overall selection. Danny Gray is the guy who last year at SMU picked up a bunch of yards after the catch. And I think that's what attracted the Niners in the pre-draft process, because no, he's not Deebo Samuel from a physical standpoint, but can he be creative with the ball in his hands like Deebo Samuel in this offense, and can we scheme him open so that he can cause havoc in the open field? He's going to be going up against backups. He's going to get some significant snaps because he certainly needs them. It's up to Danny Gray to really show up and show out. Next up on the 49ers report, going to go to Drew. Drew, welcome on to the show. Great to hear from you again. Make sure you unmute yourself. And what's happening today?
What's going on, Chase? It's good to talk to you, man. I'm so pumped. I'm even more excited than I was last week. And I'm just as an update, I am coming around to the whole Deebo Samuel thing, looking into it further. Thank you for the information last week. It's awesome.
No problem. I got you.
It's good to see our guy get paid. I'm actually cooling off on that. It's pretty pumped, and I'm really excited that we are going to stretch the field big time this year. BA's got it down, at least through training camp. He's been a hero. You always know that George is going to be good, blocking and receiving downfield. I'm so excited to see the potential for passes to be thrown outside the numbers down the field, and then to have that dual threat RG3 style running game that we can take an advantage of as well. My biggest question is, do you think Ray McCloud is going to be a big contributor? I know he's a good special teams guy, but from what I've seen, some camp footage and stuff, that he is tearing it up too in training camp. So thanks for your time, Chase, and I'll talk to you next week.
Great call as always from Drew Lucero, and let's run through what Drew was talking about. When you think about this Niners offense in years previous, they relied a lot on the ground game, and I expect them to rely a lot on the ground game this year because that's what Kyle Shanahan likes to do. Like, that is the foundational piece of this offense. But what they also lack with Jimmy Garoppolo, a downfield explosive attack, and a quarterback who had and posed the threat of running the football. And Lance is able to unleash the deep ball. He's able to pose that threat of being a runner, but that also makes the run game more dangerous because the defense isn't sure what's coming, and this offense will in turn become more unpredictable because you're not sure if Lance is going to run it, if he's going to hand the ball off or hold it, if he's going to unleash it deep. He can also complete basically every throw along the football field, in between the hashes, outside the numbers, stretch the field vertically, and Jimmy Garoppolo kind of did what he was most comfortable with doing, and just playing pitch and catch and playing point guard within this offense. And that's fine when you're not making mistakes, and that's fine when you have the offense going in a rhythmic fashion. But the Niners were 3-5 to start last year and struggled to find a rhythm, and this offense was really, really hard to watch. Now, after the Niners overcame that slow start, they were able to find their footing. They were able to get it together. This offense was more rhythmic, and they became a really fun unit to watch, and Garoppolo's completion percentage was around 70%. But Trey Lance just offers so many elements to this offense that we really haven't seen before. And I thought what Kyle Shanahan said this week about what you look for in a modern quarterback was really interesting. He said, you want Drew Brees' accuracy with Lamar Jackson's athleticism. Now, the accuracy for Trey Lance is something that needs to improve. There's no question about that. But the athleticism is something that he has. So if he is able to work and improve upon the accuracy, which is something that Josh Allen did year one, coming out of Wyoming, he completed 55% of his passes. By year three, completion percentage was about 70%. So you can work on those types of things. And if Lance is able to do that, my goodness, he could really be scary in this league. And then elsewhere, with what Drew was talking about, just this overall offense just being more dynamic, I think that's what we're going to see here in 2022, and I think that's why a lot of people are excited about what Kyle Shanahan can draw up. Mike Silver, by the way, formerly of the NFL Network, just hopped on board the San Francisco Chronicle and put together a pretty good article on how this could be one of Kyle Shanahan's best coaching seasons this year, and one of his ultimate flexes, because everybody was talking about how Trey Lance wasn't ready to play. If Shanahan's able to develop Lance and put him into a position where he is ready to play and where he can succeed, that will be a nice little coaching flex from Kyle Shanahan. Next up on the Niners Report, we're going to pivot gears to David. He's always bringing the energy on the show. David, welcome on to the Niners Report. What do you got for me? And good to hear from you again.
Yeah, what's up, man? Just chilling. Yeah, like Draco said and Drew, yeah, they have to be ready and play some football. Football's here.
Football is here, man. How does that make you feel? Just hearing that sentence. Football is here. How does that make you feel, David?
I've been waiting for football season since last year, and can't wait. And yeah, getting pumped up for these games.
You going to be joining our watch party on Friday, my guy?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Nice. You got anything else for me?
Good luck. Let's go Niners all day, every day, and talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good. David, tuning into our call-in shows every single week. Do appreciate his support as well as his passion. Let's take a look at the caller queue here. Haven't heard a lot from Rick, so I'm going to make Rick the next caller on the Niners Report. Welcome to the show, Rick. Make sure you unmute yourself, and we appreciate you. Oh, he hopped off the caller queue. So let's go to Evan now. Evan, you're going to put on your general manager hat again, I assume. What are you going to do in the shoes of John Lynch now? Because I know you're always coming up with some trades and roster transactions.
You know me so well.
Yes. Welcome back, man.
Yeah. Honestly, how the Niners been going on in practice is pretty well. Like, the one thing I really impressed me was Ray McLeod. Like, I think they should use him in more of a Deebo Samuel way, so Deebo don't get hurt all the time.
Yeah, I mean, Ray McLeod is certainly a really intriguing player. Up to this point in his career, he hasn't really had ample opportunities to prove what he can be as a consistent down-in, down-out wide receiver. He's been more of a gadget guy. Reverses, pitches, handoffs, bubble screens, but also last year in the NFL, he was statistically one of the best punt and kick returners in the NFL. And when you are a successful punt and kick returner, you are elusive, you are explosive, you have that breakaway speed. So I'm excited to see what Kyle Shanahan can do with Ray McLeod in this offense. Is he just a gadget guy, or can he be more than that? That's what I'm excited about with Ray McLeod. Anything else, Evan?
Yeah, I was wondering if everyone, like, the other videos I keep saying is, are they gonna worry if, like, who's gonna be the number 2? And honestly, I think this preseason we're gonna see Brock Purdy step up and probably overshadow the Niners number 2 and probably maybe even be like a Taysom Hill type quarterback.
Okay, nice little bold take there from Evan. So Brock Purdy, a little bit of a different quarterback as compared to Taysom Hill. In fact, they're much different quarterbacks. Taysom Hill at BYU was just an all-around athlete, and with the Saints, an all-around athlete who could be used in that H-back role, playing a little tight end, in some wildcat formations. He could line up, take the shotgun, and scamper for 10 yards, and he was bad as a quarterback at the NFL level. Now, as a switch of pace, as a switch up within an offense, Taysom Hill does offer a lot of versatility, but you don't want him being a consistent quarterback in this league because he's just not a quarterback in the National Football League. But Brock Purdy is a different type of player. Now, he does have some athleticism. He has some escapability. His arm, not really that strong, but maybe he's a little bit more accurate as a passer as compared to a guy like Taysom Hill. I don't expect him to unseat Nate Sudfeld as quarterback number 2. I actually think that San Francisco is going to go with Trey Lance as QB1, Nate Sudfeld as QB2, and only keep 2 quarterbacks on the initial 53, then have Brock Purdy on the practice squad. That's what I envision happening. Last pick in the NFL draft this past year in the 7th round. You're not expecting much from him, but he is one of the players who I'm excited to watch in Friday's game against the Green Bay Packers. So with that, we're going to round out our YouTube segment with this. Friday night, preseason opener against the Green Bay Packers. Who are you most excited to watch outside of Trey Lance? Give me a name right now in the comment section. We'll continue to keep it moving here on Call-In. Next caller, it's going to be Mark at Duke City. Give him a follow if you want. Thanks for downloading the app, making a profile, Mark, and welcome on to the 49ers Report.
Hey, big fan. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, man. Crystal clear.
Okay. I've been watching this. This is the first time I've called in. I just want to say the team is more focused than I've ever seen them in a long time. They've been to the big games. They know what it takes. That's really going to help Trey Lance a lot. This is the deepest team that Shanahan's ever had in all his years with the Niners. And I want to also give a shout out to what Evan said a little bit. You know, special teams is 1/3 of the game. And we were lousy last year. And we have really improved on our special teams, getting the 2 special teams captains from Green Bay and Indianapolis, and Ray McLeod. Those are going to make huge differences. And plus all the young players we have coming to make the roster, they're just going to be on fire. I have a feeling just for that. And just one thing on Josh Purdy. Yes, of course, he's going to make the practice squad. Give Kyle Shanahan a chance to develop this guy. What I saw him do with the Cyclones last year, it reminds me of one person. Who else didn't have the arm straight? Who else was slow? Who else was there? He's no Joe Montana. I get it. But if you see some of the plays he did it with the Cyclones, it reminds me a lot like him. He's got a winning mentality. I'm really happy for him. Let's take some time to develop him, and he could be the great backup that we need for Trey Lance. Anyway,
Mark, first
Niners.
of all, is that your tattoo on the profile picture, Mark? Are you inked red and gold till you're dead and cold?
Yes.
That's awesome, man. What is that tattoo right there? Explain it for me. That's your profile picture for those of you listening on Call-In.
Okay, so I don't know if you know this, but the Niner Empire has 150 chapters. This is the empire under Joe Lanier. 150 chapters all over the world. All over the world. Every city in America has a chapter, practically. And we're Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it's Duke City. I was born and raised in San Francisco. I was a member of the Stick. We live 10 minutes away from Candlestick. My dad had season tickets since 46. And I just, growing up there, I saw, fans and stuff. But when I see these chapters, San Antonio, Hawaii, we just had a big barbecue. We had 27 cities come to the Duke City.
Wow.
And it was amazing. I mean, Brooklyn, all these chapters, and they're bigger fans than San Francisco fans themselves. They always wear the colors. They always wear, we have flags. We have chapters. Every city has a chapter and a flag. And that's our symbol, and the Zia, of course, for New Mexico. But it's amazing, the Niner Empire. And it's growing and growing and growing. And there's no team in the world of any sport that does this. We're taking over the Bronco Stadium. We were told not to sell tickets to us. We have 50 chapters going from all over the country to invade the Bronco Stadium, which is the hardest stadium to invade because they sell out. They only sell to Bronco fans. But they don't know that from Albuquerque or from San Antonio or from Hawaii or from Brooklyn or from Phoenix. Colorado has 7 chapters. Phoenix has 8 chapters. I mean, we take over stadiums, and that's what we do. And Jesse Sapula just gave us, I'll try to send it to you, Chase, the greatest speech. He said that our generation is building for the future generations of the 49ers, and that they are all proud of us for taking over Dallas last year, for taking over the stadiums that we did. It means a lot to Joe Montana. It means a lot to those 49ers, Ronnie Lott. They are watching us. They know what we do. And like I said, I'm just overwhelmed how many 49er fans in the whole world there is. There's nothing like it. Look it up. It's called NinerEmpire.com. It will show you all the empires under the chapter.
Dude, that's great. Yes. Mark, absolutely bringing the heat right here on the Niners Report on YouTube as well as Collins. So the Niner Empire being worldwide is certainly a thing, and that's why among the top 20 most watched events on television this year, the Niners occupy 5 of those events. Week 18 against the Rams, Cowboys game, Rams game, and a couple of others. That's just the power of San Francisco. So Mark is certainly right in that, and the ink is certainly fresh. Also, just want to get to what Mark said about this being Kyle Shanahan's deepest team that he's had since becoming the head coach of San Francisco. It's got to be one of the deepest, if not the deepest. So I think he makes a good point there. Outside of offensive line, every single position group is well-equipped and well-armed to provide a lot to this Niners team this year. And that's why a lot of people should be excited about San Francisco this year. And honestly, I think people are sleeping on what the Niners can do here in 2022 because of the level of talent on this roster. A couple more calls to get to. Tried to go to Rick a little bit earlier, but he dropped off the caller queue. Rick, hopefully your connection is a little bit better. Welcome on to the Niners Report. Make sure you unmute yourself so that you can hop on the show. If you can't unmute yourself, you might have to go into the settings part of your cell phone and allow microphone access. But looking to hear from you, Rick. Not seeing you unmute yourself just yet. I can go to a different caller if we want. But, Rick, let me know if you're good or not. You can let me know in the comment section. Next up, John Monopoly. You're live on the 49ers Report on YouTube and Colin. Make sure you unmute yourself, my guy, so that you can join the show. What's up, John?
Hey, what's up, Chase? How you doing, man? It's first time on your show. I love your show, 49ers Report.
Thanks, man. I'm doing even better now that you're tuned in, for real.
Hey, so my question is, I'm a huge Niners fan, but I'm just concerned about this Jimmy Garoppolo thing. So my thing is that I'm starting to think personally now that they're going to keep Jimmy Garoppolo for insurance for Trey Lance, right? But what I want to ask you personally is that let's say if they trade Jimmy Garoppolo to Seattle and they have to play them twice this year and Garoppolo wins for sake, right? Do you think personally they will fire Kyle Shanahan for not keeping Jimmy Garoppolo and also for not drafting Mac Jones?
I don't think so. I don't think the Shanahan is on the hot seat at all. I think he's one of the brightest minds among all coaches in the NFL. I was looking at Warren Sharp's preseason preview, and all across the board in like every statistical category, Kyle Shanahan ranked as the number 8 head coach in the NFL, and his fingerprints are all across this organization. And if Garoppolo does get traded, he'll play a role in that, and if Trey Lance doesn't work out, his lack of development for Trey Lance will certainly be on his plate, but I don't think that causes Shanahan to get fired, nor do I think that would be a good move. If you think about where this organization was with Chip Kelly as well as Jim Tomsula, they were down in the dumps. I mean, you think about the highs from the Harbaugh era, and how low they were for Chip Kelly and Jim Tomsula. Kyle Shanahan was able to turn this ship around fairly quickly. Now, I know that you can look at the overall win-loss record and say that he's been a little bit above just a 500 quarterback, but you look at some of the schematic things that he does and the overall depth and talent on this roster, he's played a big part in that. So I don't think that Kyle Shanahan would get fired. And I also think that San Francisco would not fall to Seattle twice in a year. I understand that franchise has dominated the Niners over the last about decade, but a big part of that, Russell Wilson. I expect them to be bad this year. And if they were facing Garoppolo, like, they would just have that added bonus of trying to get after it.
Right. Oh, okay, man. Hey, Chase, I really thank you, man. Appreciate you, man.
No problem,
really
John.
right.
Thanks for calling into the show, my guy. Have a good one.
You, man. Take care.
All right. Let's try Rick for the last time. Rick, are you ready this time? We're trying to hear from you on the Niners Report. If you unmute yourself, we'll get you on the show. There he is. Rick, what's happening, man?
Hey, Chase, how you doing?
Good to hear from you, dude.
I just wanted to say that he's on a learning curve right now. But this is the deepest team that Shanahan ever had, and I think this is the best quarterback he's ever going to coach.
And that's why, I'm personally excited about Lance, because this is the most talented quarterback that Kyle Shanahan has ever had as a head coach. Now, he had Robert Griffin III in Washington. He had Matt Ryan when he won an MVP in Atlanta. He had Johnny Manziel in Cleveland. But as a head coach for the Niners, he's had Jimmy Garoppolo, Nick Mullins, and C.J. Beathard. There's no question, Rick, that Trey Lance is a lot more talented than some of those guys. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, I just want to bring another Super Bowl back to Frisco, just like the Dubs brought it back again this year.
I agree. So you're listening from New Zealand, right, Rick?
New Zealand at work here. I've been here 2 months. I'll be home Friday to catch the game.
Okay, so what are you doing in New Zealand? Can you disclose that information, or you're just down there for
I
work?
work for NASA, and we're over here flying.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. And then where do you live regularly?
Tehachapi.
Where's that?
Antelope Valley.
Okay, awesome, man. So you're in New Zealand. The time change is what? From the West Coast?
5 hours ahead of you, or actually, excuse me, 5 hours behind you, but a day ahead.
Yeah, exactly, because I have family in Australia. I grew up on the East Coast, so they were always like a day ahead, which is kind of crazy, and a little bit of a switch. But you're coming back to the States soon, right in time for Niners football?
Yep.
That's
Coming
awesome.
back Friday. I'll catch the game Friday night, and I'm from originally Woodland, so Bay Area, close enough.
Awesome, man. You got anything else for me?
Nope, just waiting for the games. Let's go Niners.
All right, Rick. Safe travels back to the States. Thanks for calling into the show.
Yep.
All right, 2 more callers to get to real quick. Let's go to Edgar, and then we'll round out with Richard. Final callers on call-in. What's up, Edgar? You're live on the show.
Hey, Chase. How's it been?
Great. How are you?
Good. It's been a while. I've been missing in action live, but I've been still keeping up with all recent news and rumors with when I can. Summer school has been kicking my tail a little bit.
I understand, man, but you got bigger goals in mind, and regular season's coming, so, you'll be tuned in soon enough when it counts.
Exactly. Getting, super excited this Friday. We get to see some 49er football.
Hell yeah.
That we haven't seen since past January, so that's always something to look forward to. Just for the memes, should we hire Dr. Disrespect as quarterback too, or another camp body, or what you think about that?
Dude, that's awesome. So he was at Niners training camp today, for those who don't know, and he was chucking some pretty good footballs, Edgar. I mean, I'd say they were traveling 30 to 40 yards in the air, right? It has to be around that distance.
Yeah, and dropping dimes to arguably, in my opinion, the best tight end in the league.
He's the best overall tight end in the NFL.
That goes to put some name on Mr. Dr. Disrespect, which I gotta say, high level of respect for Dr. Disrespect.
Maybe he's QB2 over Sudfeld, Brock Purdy, and Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
He's 6'7". He's a big dude.
Yeah, he is, and really, really nice guy. I had the opportunity to meet him in Rolling Heights.
Oh, that's sick.
Really cool dude. Yeah, really, really cool.
Nice. You got anything else for me, Edgar, before we hop on out of here?
All I got for you is that obviously we don't have control of the schedule, per se. It's pretty much the NFL deciding how the home games and the away games are split. But if you could change the schedule, what modifications would you make?
That's a good question. I would probably change and spread out that middle portion of the schedule. I'm pulling it up here. So this is why I continue to say it's really important for the Niners to get off to a good start. To start the year, Bears, Seahawks, Broncos, Rams. So Broncos, Rams, 2 difficult games, but 2 winnable games there. Then you have Panthers, Falcons, winnable games too. So you can be 2 games above 500 if you drop those 2. And then it gets really difficult. You have this stretch, October 23rd, Chiefs, October 30th, Rams, November 13th, coming off the bye, Chargers, and then the Cardinals, Saints, Dolphins, and Buccaneers after that. That's a really tough slate. So I would try to spread that out if I could. That'd be the one change that I would make.
I agree with your comment, but if things were still to be the same, like everything the exact same schedule, I would have liked the Denver game to be at home.
Yes.
And the Chargers game at Levi Stadium South. That would have been nice. And no, not because I'm from another opportunity to see my Niners in enemy territory, just simply higher chance of taking down Russ once and for all once more.
Yeah, it's also cool to see the Niners and the faithful just show up at Levi Stadium South and just take over SoFi. It's pretty awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be nice. Off to Mr. Richard. But other than that, I think go Niners. Let's see how we do on Friday.
All right, brother.
Look forward
Good luck
to it.
on your future studies, man, and continue to kill it, all right?
For sure. Thank you.
All
We're
right.
getting close to the end.
Yes, we are.
Looking forward.
Keep grinding, bro.
Yeah, see you.
All right, Edgar, thanks. Last caller of the show. Going to go to my guy, Richard, another guy who brings the positive energy. Oh, no, he dropped off the caller queue. Richard, if you want to come back, get into the caller queue. I'll go to you to round out the show. There he is. Richard, what's happening, my guy?
Can you hear me, Chase?
I got you. What's up, Richard?
Hey, how's it going, Chase?
Doing great. Doing great. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, so we had talked a month or so ago about the interior offensive line. I'm hearing the 4th-round pick, Buford's at the right guard position with the ones these days, and Brunskill's moved over and alternating at center. Who do you think is doing the guards in the center if you were to bet right now on week 1?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Aaron Banks at left guard. I think it's going to be Burford at right guard, and then I think it's going to be Brendel at center. What's interesting to note and kind of monitor, if Brunskill loses out to Brendel at center, does he take over for Burford at right guard, or do they try to continue to groom him? I think that's a big question. I would go with Burford if you have confidence in the rookie, because we know what Brunskill can bring to the table as a guard fill-in, but I think as of right now, that's going to be the offensive line.
Yeah, I like Brunskill as the backup as well. He's a good backup for all 3 positions, I think.
Yeah, center and guard. You're right.
Right. All right, thanks, Chase. Have a good one.
Hey,
go Niners.
Richard, you too. Go Niners. To everybody who called in today, thanks for joining the show, hopping on board the 49ers Report. We'll be back actually on Friday night here on Callin' during our watch party. So we're going to be doing a watch party, Niners Packers on YouTube as well as Rumble. Then after the game, I'll be taking your calls on Callin' as we'll react to it live. So that's why you got to download the Callin' app, make a profile, and subscribe so that you can join us both on the visual side on YouTube and Rumble as well as the audio side on Callin' as our podcast game, it continues to expand. So to all of you who tuned in, do appreciate